A very hearty welcome. Here we are for the Science and Technology Current Affairs 2019 to 20, brought to you by Kingmakers IAS Academy, presented by Madhavi Ji, a faculty at Kingmakers IAS Academy. I'm dealing with polity and science and technology, and I'm part of R&D team also. So here we had started UPSC preliminary online program, which started on 6 May 2020. It consists of GS and CSAT. It consists of 1 hour session, 2 per day, totally 126 hours. This whole package will cover all the chapters along with the question and answer session, and it will be taught by CSE achievers, civil servants, eminent personalities, and faculties of Kingmakers. Here, this is at an affordable cost, so you can use this link to register. And mains online program is also on the while. An end-to-end coverage of prelims. We also have a separate package for general studies 1, 2, 3, 4. So people who wanted to only take GS 1 or 2, 3, 4 because you might have learned something in optional. So you wanted only to learn GS 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. So you will have this mains online program exclusively customized for you. And it also includes question answer sessions along with the subject knowledge. It will be covering all 3 years question answers. So it is a very comprehensive program that is provided online for you. And also optional program is made online now, and you will have all the facilities through online that is provided offline. And the things which are free for all Kingmaker students is daily prelims test series that will consist of 10 MCQs. It is called Good Morning Test, and daily mains test series which will consist of 2 mains question and answers for your practice. And daily editorial will also be consisting of a description as well as a question that can be asked based on it. So this is very useful for you. It will be a daily practice. So prelims as well as for mains, it will be a daily practice series. It will be for those who enroll for any of the classes, it will be free for all Kingmaker students. So, and also we have provided scholarship also. You can avail that scholarship program through taking a small test. And coming with the science and technology current affairs, this is part 1. We will be dealing with diseases. So we have 2019 to 20, we have number of diseases coming in news. So I thought we will separate the science and technology current affairs into different parts. So this first part will talk about diseases. So diseases, it is not just COVID-19, which is the much is discussed now. There are a number of diseases which came in news, so it is better for you to learn all the things and also some of the terms behind it and also some of the concepts behind it, and you also know the who is behind it and who, whatever done by who, we will also deal with the 2 or more topics on who. So learning outcomes, here we have this diseases in news from 2019 to 20, terms related to diseases, whose criteria for pandemic declaration, public health emergency declaration, vaccine types, challenges in vaccine development, which is the much more discussed in the production of COVID vaccine, and immunization program of India, because this March we celebrated National Immunization Day on 16th. So I thought that may be asked in the prelims, because mostly they would have, if at all, they would have taken the question paper during that time. That would have struck them, and they could have taken a question from the immunization program of India. And diseases eradicated in India. So this is the whole learning outcomes of this particular session. So previous year question, as you have to know the importance of diseases, right? So here the question from CSE 2019, which one of the following statements is not correct? Here it is about hepatitis B and C disease. So this question was coming because there was a national hepatitis program which was released. So because of that, the question was about the disease, not about the program, but about the disease. So you have to know about the disease whenever there is a program, as well as the disease itself as an endemic or epidemic on that time. The next question from CSE 2017. about Zika virus. Again, Zika virus was in news. So here this is about old disease, but still the program was on. Here it is about the new disease which was outbreak. So here the question is like this: in tropical regions, Zika virus disease is transmitted by the same mosquito that transmits dengue. Sexual transmission of Zika virus disease is possible. So mostly it is about the basics of the virus or the disease. So here the question is like this. So we will train you, we will learn based on the questions. So each of the diseases that we will talk about consist of the scope like this. The causative agent we will learn, the spreading method, the symptoms, the impacts, diagnosis technique, vaccine, treatment, government or international organization steps taken, and miscellaneous information if at all present there. So here, this is the scope of study for each diseases. So here, see the preparation strategy for your diseases. If at all any diseases coming in news, this must be your strategy. Whenever talking about diseases, you must know what is the causative agent, then the origin, the symptoms, the vector, the diagnosis, the vaccine, if at all present. Whether vaccine is present or not, you must know. And the transmission methods and government programs for it. So these are the basic framework that you have to keep your notes for the diseases. So whenever things are coming in news, whether it is an old disease or the new diseases, you must have the notes for this and like this. So keep your notes very smart so that you will be able to crack any questions if at all coming about the diseases. And also it will be helpful for your mains because COVID-19, they may not ask you a direct question in mains, but still they can ask you about public health or the government strategy or how this pandemic can influence international relations like that. So this diseases can be related to polity, it can be related to science and technology, can be related to society or international relations, anything possible. So you must train yourself to tackle questions like that in mains. Coming with us about tuberculosis. Okay, so little mistake with my animation. So tuberculosis, there are the causative agent is the bacteria, Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So it is a bacteria. You must differentiate whether it is caused by a fungus, whether it is caused by a bacteria, whether it is caused by a virus or any other worms also. So causative agent here is bacteria. Spreading method is through the air, that is the droplets or aerosols in the air. And impacts is it affects the lungs. When it is affecting the lungs, it is called as pulmonary tuberculosis. And if it is affecting some other organs, like say for example liver, spleen and all, it is called as extrapulmonary tuberculosis. And diagnosis techniques is this: Mantoux tuberculin skin test and interferon gamma release assay, or it is called as IGRA. Sometimes this also may be your question, but still these concepts, these technical terms may not be asked, but still it is better for you just to have a look at it so that if at all asked, you will be able to think and make it right. Vaccine, it is BCG vaccine. And government and international organization steps taken. First is a national strategic plan to end TB in India by 2025 was the first program of the national government. And World Bank and Government of India signed a loan agreement of $400 million for the program towards the elimination of tuberculosis. This happened very recently, so I made it this. So it is important for you to know about tuberculosis. Nikshay, this is a portal wherein the government web-based DB case monitoring system. So what is it? Is a portal name, but it is for the purpose for monitoring. And end TB strategy. This is started by the WHO, aimed to reduce TB by 20% from 2015 to 18. So miscellaneous information is India's TB burden is highest in the world, followed by Indonesia and China. Remember this, India's TB burden is the highest. So it is important for you to know about tuberculosis. And there is something called active and latent TB. See, there are any diseases considered as active and latent. What is active is the live bacteria are still present in the particular human body, but latent TB is the person, the TB bacteria may have died, but still the remnants of the TB bacteria will be there in the body, and the patient may not have been cured also, but still the remnant of the TB bacteria residues still present in his body may tell him that in the test, whenever the TB test is done, still the TB test will give the result as positive. So that is called latent TB. And if whenever there is some mutation happens, this TB bacteria, whichever dead, can also come alive in the human body. So it can recur also. So that is called active and latent TB. And there is something very, very important for you to know. There is something called resistance, which is created with the antibiotics. So there are now this is a great challenge for the the political leaders as well as for the medical research people, because this resistance, which whenever it is created against the antibiotics that is provided for the tuberculosis or any diseases for the treatment, it is for the people, it really costs so much, and also the lives will be the greatest cost, because whenever the resistance is created, then they have to go for a new antibiotics, they have to discover a new antibiotics. But whenever they find the new antibiotics, the bacteria will find resistance to this new antibiotics. So like this cycle goes on. So there is a resistance because this bacteria, being very small microbes, has a tendency to mutate, and this mutation can create resistance to this antibiotics. But the very cause for the resistance is too much use of antibiotics, too wider use of antibiotics, use of antibiotics in the livestock, and so on and so forth, that causes this resistance. So there are different kinds of resistance in case of TB. So this resistance was actually found with the tuberculosis, and there are resistance in much more diseases. Say for example, I'm killing, say for example, my mosquito coil. Say for example, I'm using All Out or Morton or Good Night. So whenever I put Good Night, the mosquito had created resistance for this Good Night. The Good Night comes with another solution to fight with this mosquito. Again, the mosquito will find resistance to this liquid the aerosols. Again, like this, it goes on. So this Good Night will increase the cost for the subsequent inventions, and my budget will also go because of that. So like this, just from the mosquitoes, I'm giving an example. It also happens with the microbes. So this drug-resistant TB is divided into three. One is multi-drug resistant. So it is multi means one or more than one. So this resistance TB, that is this bacteria, is resistant to more than one drug. That is isoniazid and rifampicin. And extensively drug-resistant tuberculosis. This is XDR-TB. This is MDR-TB. So this is extensively drug-resistant. That is, this tuberculosis bacteria is resistant to more than this and much more. That is, it is resistant to fluoroquinolones, levofloxacin, moxifloxacin, and to at least one of the three injectable second line drugs. So actually it is called as first line drugs, and whenever the bacteria is resistant, then they go for second line drugs. When again this bacteria will find resistance for this second line drugs, they will go for third line drugs. Whenever it is resistant to the first line drugs, it is called as multi-drug resistance, and it is second line drugs, it is called extensively drug resistant tuberculosis, and for the third, it is called totally drug resistant tuberculosis. So this is the three stages, and it is the most challenging part of disease treatment. So this is a challenge now. People who are they're mostly becoming multi-drug resistant, and there are certain people also becoming XDR-TB. So having XDR-TB, so this is a great challenge. That this you have to learn in detail. What is causing resistance, and what is the what is the solution for this resistance. So this you must know. It is a mains perspective. So here I'll be dealing only with this prelims perspective, but you have to know much more. And we will come up with this current affairs analysis for the mains later. Here a small picture about tuberculosis. Now coming with the polio. Polio, the causative agent is poliovirus of the genus enterovirus. So you must remember this enterovirus, and spreading method is person to person contact. Fecal contamination. This fecal contamination can be through the soil, the water, anything. Symptoms, flu-like symptoms. So only see this fecal contamination. So only they are going for this open defecation free environment. Then symptoms, flu-like symptoms like a fever, cough and all. Impacts, paresthesia. This you have to remember. Paresthesia, feeling of pins and needles in the legs. Like there will be a sharp feeling in the legs. And meningitis, it is affecting the spinal cord and or brain. This occurs in about 1 out of 25 people with poliovirus infection. And there are paralysis with the extreme result of this poliovirus attack. They can't move parts of the body, or weakness in the arms, legs or both occurs in about 1 out of 200 people with poliovirus infection. So it is not just paralysis, it is also meningitis and paresthesia that you have to remember. And diagnosis technique is antibodies test and saliva test. What is an antibody? So do have a look at it. I will refer you to the NCERT particular thing for this. So diagnosis techniques, antibodies test. Antibodies test is the proteins which are produced by the immune system to fight against this polio is called antibodies. So that you must remember. And saliva test to find out whether the polio virus antigen is present. Vaccine, you have the oral polio vaccine, and inactivated polio virus vaccine is also there. Now they are providing injectable polio virus vaccine also. This oral polio virus vaccine is only having live attenuated vaccine. I will talk about live attenuated vaccine in the later part of this particular session. And this inactivated poliovirus vaccine, which is injectable, is now proposed because this oral polio vaccine has the danger of this oral polio vaccine actually consists of the inactivated live bacteria, live virus of the polio. So this, because of mutation, can become alive again. So this can create vaccine derived polio. So in order, this is a great danger. So in order to eliminate this, they are going for an inactivated poliovirus vaccine, which is injected. But still, this oral polio vaccine is also continued, but this is now being slowly started. So this is, you must remember. And treatment, there is no cure for polio. And government or international steps taken, it is Pulse Polio Oral Vaccination Campaign and Global Polio Eradication Initiative by WHO and others. Miscellaneous information, this is very important for you. I call it miscellaneous just because it is not coming under this, but this is very important for you to know. There are 3 types of poliovirus. Wild poliovirus type 3 has been eradicated. This you must remember. Type 3 has been eradicated totally. The first was in 2015 when type 2 was declared as eliminated. Only type 1 wild poliovirus still in circulation and is restricted to just 2 countries, that is Afghanistan and Pakistan. So type 2 and 3 is no more there. Only type 1 is there, and also it is restricted to just 2 countries, Afghanistan and Pakistan. And this is again a challenge for India because we have our neighboring country having this type 1 wild poliovirus. So there are danger of this virus being transmitted from the nearby countries. So it is very important, though we eradicated, though polio is no more there in our country, but still we have to be vigilant about the virus that can be passed from Afghanistan and Pakistan. So this is very important contemporarily also. So this is a picture. Acute flaccid myelitis. Again, this was the news, so I'm talking about this. Causative agent is mild. It is again a viral infection, such as from enterovirus that caused polio. So it is similar to polio only, but a little different. So you must know this. And this also causes paralysis, but it is different from polio. So it is a family of enterovirus only. Environment, but it can also be caused by not just by virus, but also some environmental toxins, and genetic disorders can also cause acute flaccid myelitis. So polio is just one part of acute flaccid myelitis, but not entirely. Symptoms: rapid onset of arm or leg weakness and decreased reflexes. Reflexes means that, say for example, the sudden see, I'm going near a fire. I will not touch it. Whenever just a fire spark comes in, I'll move away. That is the reflex. So reflex means a sudden response to any stimulus. So it's a rapid onset of arm or leg weakness and but decreased reflexes. They'll become so numb that they will not be able to quickly react to such stimulus, external stimulus. So that is called decreased reflexes, transverse myelitis and Guillain-Barré syndrome. So these are the symptoms. Impacts the serious condition of the spinal cord. So spinal cord is the nervous system. So you must remember, whenever the spinal cord gets affected, you have all this weakness and decreased reflexes. Diagnosis technique is medical imaging of the spine, nerve conduction studies, and cerebral spinal fluid testing. Vaccine is, again, polio vaccine is administered for this myelitis also. Treatment is supportive care only. There is no cure, just like polio. Here is a picture. See, the nervous system gets affected. It includes brain, spinal cord, and the nerves. So difficulty moving eyes or drooping eyelids, facial droop or weakness, difficulty with swallowing or slurred speech, sudden arm or leg weakness. Like somebody has like a stroke where they will have this facial droop, difficulty with swallowing, slurred speech and all. This acute flaccid myelitis is causing various symptoms because of the effect on the nervous system. Lymphatic filariasis, this is also was in news. Causative agent is, it is a parasitic disease. Remember this, parasitic, like filarial worms. Especially which area? Bancrofti is responsible for 90% of the cases, but there are other worms also for the 10% of the cases. Spreading method is transmitted to humans through mosquitoes such as Culex, Anopheles. So wide range of mosquitoes is a vector for this. Symptoms: most infected people are asymptomatic. So they don't show any symptoms and never develop clinical symptoms. Impacts: they impact the lymphatic system like spleen, lymphatic nodes. So the immune system, that is lymphatic system, is related to the immune system. So that will get affected. So as it called as lymphatic filariasis. Treatment is triple drug therapy that administers a single dose of 3 anti-filarial drugs like this: albendazole, ivermectin, diethyl carbamazine. Government and international organization steps taken. So far, it is not very important, so I have left it. Miscellaneous information, it is called as elephantiasis or hathi paw. So see this picture, they have a elephantiasis. So lymphatic filariasis is otherwise called as elephantiasis. So this you must remember. If at all, if you want government or international organization step. So against this parasitic diseases, there is a program. So, but it is not coming recently in use, so I have left it. Ebola. Coming with Ebola, causative agent is Ebola virus. The spreading method is transmitted to people from wild animals and spread in the human, usually with a close contact with blood, secretions, organs, or other bodily fluid of infected animal. The infected animals are fruit bats, chimpanzees, gorillas, monkeys, forest antelope, or porcupines found ill or dead. So there is most of the thing. This is called as zoonotic diseases. So whenever it is transmitted from animals to human, it is called zoonotic. Symptoms: fever, fatigue, muscle pain, headache, sore throat, impacts, uncontrollable bleeding. Diagnosis technique: antibody capture enzyme linked immunosorbent assay ELISA test, antigen capture detection test, serum neutralization test, RT-PCR assay. So I'll talk about this RT-PCR later. Electron microscopy and virus isolation by cell culture. See, what is an antigen? Antigen is the any part of this Ebola virus is called as antigen. Antigen, actually, whenever the antigen, the foreign antigen comes in contact with our body, the immune system reacts and create antibodies. So this you must remember. Even our body has also antigen in every part of the body. Say for example, the AB antigen in the blood cells. So, but if it is a foreign antigen, our body reacts to it and create and fight against this foreign antigen. Vaccine RVSV Zimbabwe. So this was in news. So I spoke about Ebola. Treatment: yearly supportive care with rehydration. Symptomatic treatment improves survival. There is no licensed treatment so far. Only supportive care is provided. Government or international steps taken. It is not very important. Miscellaneous information first appeared in 1976 in two simultaneous outbreaks. One was in South Sudan and other in Democratic Republic of Congo, Sudan and Congo. The later occurred in a village near Ebola River. So this was the miscellaneous information. Nipah virus, causative agent is Nipah virus. It is a type of RNA virus. So virus is usually two types, RNA virus or DNA virus. So here Nipah virus is an RNA virus in the genus Henipaw virus. Spreading method is exposure to bats and sick pigs and not drinking raw date palm sap. So bats and pigs are the the transmitting agent. Symptoms: none to fever, cough, headache, shortness of breath, confusion, encephalitis, which means the infection in brain, inflammation of the brain. Okay. Diagnosis technique: RT-PCR, cerebrospinal fluid is tested, urine and blood analysis, and IgG, IgM antibody detection, immunohistochemistry on tissues is all diagnosis techniques. So these are not very important, just for a comprehensive information I have given you this. So diagnosis techniques, you need not deeply learn anything. Whichever coming in news, have a look at it. Vaccine: there is no vaccine, but there are some things which are administered like ribavirin, M102.4 monoclonal antibody, favipiravir are the only antivirus with some activity against Nipah virus. So there is no vaccine so far discovered for Nipah also. Treatment: again no treatment, only supportive care. Again, international organization steps taken. You all know the Nipah virus, that was a successful Nipah virus elimination was successful in Kerala. Miscellaneous information: it was first outbreak in Malaysia, Singapore. Zika virus, again it was a older news, but still again because of the COVID there was a talk about all the viruses that was in use. So Zika, causative agent is mosquito-borne flavivirus that was first identified in Uganda in 1947 in monkeys. Spreading method is through Aedes mosquito. So you must remember there are certain things which is spread through Aedes mosquito. So Aedes mosquito is the reason for Zika virus, chikungunya and all. Anopheles is for the malaria. So mother to fetus during pregnancy also through sexual contact, transfusion of blood and blood products and organ transplantation. Symptoms: again fever, muscle and joint pain, headache, everything. Incubation period is 3 to 14 days. Impacts is infection during pregnancy cause infants to be born with microcephaly. Cephaly means brain. So microcephaly, so the brain growth will not grow in a wholesome manner, and other congenital malformations. In adults and children, it creates Guillain-Barré syndrome, neuropathy, and myelitis. Diagnosis technique: it is a lab test. Vaccine not yet found. Treatment: no treatment available yet. Government and international organization steps taken. This was a news, so I made Zika now. So Zika strategic response framework by WHO was started. So this was in news. Marburg diseases, causative agent is the same family as the virus that causes Ebola virus disease, a prolonged exposure to mines or caves inhabited by bat, this Rosetus bat colonies. So this causes Marburg diseases. So actually there was a number of diseases which are caused by bat. So this was in news now. Spreading method, human to human transmission via direct contact with the blood, secretions, organs, or other bodily fluids of infected people and with surfaces and materials contaminated with fluids. So surfaces also causes this disease. Symptoms, incubation period 2 to 21 days, maculopapular rash, nausea, vomiting, chest pain, sore throat, abdominal pain and diarrhea. Impacts are it causes hemorrhagic fever, that is brain fever. Diagnosis techniques, again ELISA test, RT-PCR test and IgM capture ELISA. Vaccine, experimental stage only, it is not discovered yet. Treatment, there is no specific treatment, only supportive care is provided. Miscellaneous information is a first outbreak in Marburg and Frankfurt in Germany. Remember this, the Marburg is the city of Germany, and in Belgrade in Serbia in 1967 itself. So this is a small picture. So through bats, you get infected. Dengue, the causative agent is mosquito-borne single positive stranded RNA virus of the family Flaviviridae. So genus Flavivirus. 5 serotypes of this virus have been found, but only 4 is mostly discussed in the many of the websites I saw, but there are 5 also. So it is called DEN1, DE1, DN2, like this. But remember, actually I called it dengue, but actually the pronunciation is dengue. So in a big picture and in in-depth I saw it, they were pronouncing as dengue. So I was searching what is the correct pronunciation. It is called dengue, but usually people call it as dengue. So dengue is the right pronunciation. Spreading method, bite of an infected Aedes species. Again, dengue is also caused by Aedes. Diagnosis technique, Aedes is the one which is mostly uh, bites you in the morning. Diagnosis technique is blood test. Vaccine, a vaccine to prevent dengue. Denguaxia, this was in news, so dengue was also in news. Okay, so dengue, fine. Denguaxia is licensed and available in some countries for people aged 9 to 45 years old, commercially available as CYD-TDV. So the question can be like this, CYD-TDV or with denguaxia. So remember that. Note specific medication. Government steps, National Vector-Borne Disease Control Program. So Vector-Borne Disease Control Program, this program is actually can be used in the various government or international organization steps taken that I have missed in the last slides on top. So this National Vector-Borne Disease Control Program is actually a comprehensive program that will cover most of the diseases which are caused by the vector. Here the symptoms of this. Symptoms include eye pain, headache, muscle pain, rash, bone pain, nausea or vomiting, joint pain. Then acute encephalitis syndrome. So this actually was in very start of this year, I mean last year 2019. So what is this acute encephalitis syndrome? So encephalitis means again brain fever. So related to brain, encephaly means brain. Again, remember this is called as a syndrome. There is a difference between symptoms, syndrome and disease. This you have to know. So syndrome is not related to disease. Symptoms, again, symptoms is wider for any disease. Symptoms is itself not a disease. Symptoms is an effect of the immune reaction against the causative agent like bacteria or virus. So symptoms are the fever is actually good for your body because the high temperature kills the bacteria or numbs at least. Okay, so this symptoms is different and syndrome is not a disease. So syndrome is actually the initial stage. So various other diseases may affect and cause syndrome to disease. Say for example, you have the AIDS, that is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. So AIDS itself will not result in death, but AIDS will affect the immune system. It will affect the immune system, and whenever any other disease, say for example TB or COVID, affects the body, affects the person who's having AIDS or HIV virus, okay, so then it will kill the person because his immune system is being compromised. So any other diseases which result in death will have more fatality percentage in case of the person with AIDS. So this is the one you remember. So this acute encephalitis is also a syndrome. Causative agent caused by several different viruses. See, as I said, it is a syndrome. There are different causative agents like viruses, bacteria, fungus, parasites, spirochetes, chemicals or toxins also, etc. Apart from viral encephalitis, severe form of leptospirosis, this is a bacteria, and toxoplasmosis can cause AES. The symptoms: acute onset of fever and clinical neurological manifestation that includes mental confusion, disorientation, delirium or coma. So this is only causes neurological manifestation and it will not kill. So it is not actually a disease, it is a syndrome. Impacts: causes inflammation, irritation or swelling on the brain. Treatment: antibiotics, antiviral medication and supportive care for each and everything. So miscellaneous information, this is very important for you to know because in Muzaffarpur in Bihar, there was the outbreak of this AES. Under this AES, you have the Japanese encephalitis. Okay, so this was a problem, but how it caused to the children there? The children was actually consumed this lychee fruit, unripe lychee fruit on empty stomachs. So they were sleeping without food after having this unripe lychee fruit. But this lychee fruit actually lowered their sugar level and caused their neurological manifestation resulting in coma. So whenever this people were not provided with the sugar, increasing the sugar level, they would have died. These children would have died. So this unripe fruit contain the toxins hypoglycine. See, hypo means low, glycine means related to sugar. So it reduced the sugar level, and methylene encyclopropyl glycine, which causes vomiting if ingested in large quantities. This hyperglycine A is naturally occurring amino acid found in the unripened lychee fruit that causes severe vomiting, while MCPG is poisonous compound found in lychee seeds that causes sudden drop in blood sugar, vomiting, altered mental states leading to lethargy, unconsciousness, coma and death. These toxins cause sudden high fever and seizures serious enough to require hospitalization in young, severely malnourished children. But actually they can be recovered, that is easier only. But because they were eating with the lychee fruit with the empty stomach, it was very hard to regain their consciousness. It is also known as chunky fever or lychee virus in India. Acute encephalitis syndrome has its endemic zones covering the Gangetic Plain like states of Bihar, Assam, East Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal and some parts of Tamil Nadu also. It is not only in the Gangetic Plains, it is also in the Tamil Nadu also. Hantavirus, again it was in news. Along with COVID, we also had this hantavirus also, problematic one. So what is this? Causative agent RNA virus with the family Bunya viridae, Cinnabar virus. So there is a family of Bunya viridae, but this virus, Cinnabar virus, spread by the deer mouse, was one of this causative agent. There are dozens of types of hantavirus and one is Cinnabar virus, majority of which do not cause disease in humans. So it is mostly affecting the animals rather than the humans. Spreading methods spread mainly by rodents, spread to people via aerosolized virus that shed in urine, feces, saliva of this rodent, and less frequently by a bite from an infected host. So not from a bite, but through urine, feces, and saliva. Symptoms: fever, headache, muscle aches, stomach problem, dizziness, chills. Late symptoms can be lungs filling with fluid and shortness of breath. Impacts: causes: hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. Pulmonary means affecting the lungs. And hemorrhagic fever with renal syndrome. Renal means affecting the kidney. Fine. So hemorrhagic is brain fever. So I mean blood fever. Diagnosis technique is chest X-ray, serological test. Vaccine: no specific treatment, no vaccine, no cure. Treatment: intensive care facility, because the lungs gets filled and there is a shortness of breath. There is need for an intensive care facility and often require respiratory support. So government steps, it is very simple. They did whatever possible through for preventing these rodents and treating the people. So miscellaneous information: discovered in a striped field mouse near the Hantan River in South Korea. Again, there was a questions, prelims question can also be asked on origins of this virus. So South Korea is the origin. Plague was also in news because plague was the first pandemic outbreak. So plague causative agent is Yersinia pestis, usually found in small mammals like rodents and their fleas. Fleas is a small insects that is settling on the mammal's body, right? We have seen fleas are there in the dogs also. That is a pet animal we have in the home. Spreading method: animals to humans via their fleas, through air via infectious droplets. Symptoms: fever, weakness, headache. Impacts: in the bubonic, there are different forms. See this? In the bubonic form, there is also swelling of lymph nodes, while in septicemic form, tissues may turn black and die, and in the pneumonic form, shortness of breath, cough, and chest pain may occur. So it is called bubonic plague, septicemic plague, pneumonic plague and all. Vaccine: there is no licensed plague vaccine available. Treatment: just the antibiotics, but again it is caused by, it is not a direct cure for this. And supportive care: again no treatment, so only supportive care. Antibiotics killing, not directly killing this Yersinia pestis, so supportive care only have to be provided for this curing of these symptoms. How plague is transmitted, as you all know, through the rodents and through their fleas and to the humans. Swine flu, causative agent is influenza C and subtype of influenza A, known as, there are a number of virus types which are causing swine flu. In1 is the one which is in H1N1 is the one which is popular, but there are a number of other variants also. Spreading method: pigs to humans. Symptoms: cough, chills, aches. Diagnosis technique: RT-PCR. Vaccine are available for different kinds of swine flu: Pandemrix and Selvapan. Treatment: antiviral drugs are provided like this. In1, through the contamination of the pig. It passes from pigs to humans. Avian influenza, or it is called as bird flu or avian flu. Causative agent H5N1 is the most common form. Some strain of 5 subtypes, see this 5 subtypes, 5N1, 7N3, like this. Spreading method: contact between the infected and healthy birds, though can also be spread indirectly through contaminated equipment. Human to human contact is much more difficult, but birds to human is more prominent. Here there's just picture. So whenever there is a contamination, even in the dust droplets which is containing the virus can also infect the person when it is inhaled. SARS, again SARS MERS was in news because it was very related to the coronavirus that causes now the novel coronavirus. So NCOV virus that is prevalent now causing COVID. SARS causative agent is SARS associated coronavirus or 7 different kinds of coronavirus can infect humans. Spreading method is close human contact and in droplets from coughing and sneezing. Symptoms appeared 2 to 7 days, high fever, other mild respiratory symptoms. Impacts: pneumonia, while some had long-term damage to their liver, kidneys and lungs also. Diagnosis: blood stool test, test of nasal secretion, imaging test to detect pneumonia. So imaging is the chest X-ray. Vaccine, there is no cure for SARS also. Treatment, no drugs, including antibiotics because it is caused by a virus. So antibiotics will not help because it is against, it fights only against bacteria. Appear to be effective against SARS. Instead, healthcare providers offered supportive care. So supportive care to reduce the symptoms are provided. Miscellaneous information, since 2004, there have been no recorded case of SARS anywhere in the world. Remember this. MERS, again MERS coronavirus, single-stranded RNA belonging to the genus Beta coronavirus. Spreading method originally from bats. However, humans are typically infected from camels. Actually, SARS was a outbreak from China, South China Sea, while MERS outbreak from Saudi Arabia. So there was a infection from camels, either during direct contact or indirectly. So symptoms include fever, cough, diarrhea, and shortness of breath. Impacts include MERS can range from asymptomatic diseases to severe pneumonia leading to acute respiratory distress syndrome, kidney failure, disseminated intravascular coagulation, pericarditis have also been reported. Diagnosis, again, real-time PCR testing. Vaccine, no treatment. It is also known as camel flu, first identified in Saudi Arabia. So MERS, first identified in Saudi Arabia, remember that. So COVID-19, most discussed one. Positive agent, the RNA virus surrounded by envelope with protein spikes which gives its appearance of a crown. So it is called as corona. 70% similar to SARS-CoV. So 70% similar, so it is called as SARS-CoV-2. Spike protein of the novel coronavirus binds to the cell receptor with much higher affinity. So it is present in the contaminated surface also for a longer while because of the most binding property of spike protein. Spreading method, it is zoonotic. Again, zoonotic means transmission from infected animals to the human. So bats to civet cats to humans, but pangolin might have acted as a intermediaries who also they say. So only it was started from the Wuhan wet market in China. Diagnosis techniques. So there are a number of techniques. So actually this was a news. Remember, RT-PCR is a usual test, but Feluda test was a testing method which was discovered by CSIR scientists. Chitra gene lamp EN was discovered by this Sri Chitra lab, and this includes using reverse transcriptase loop mediated amplification of viral nucleic acid technology. And there is NCOV sense detecting the IgG IgM antibodies presented in the human body. So this was discovered by a Pune laboratory. So this was all news. Vaccine, no vaccine so far. Treatment, no specific treatment. Wuhan, its outbreak was in Wuhan, China on 31st December 2019. Rare disease, this was a news. What is this rare diseases that, who defines this rare disease as often debilitating, lifelong disease or disorder condition with the prevalence of 1 or less per 1,000 persons. So it is called very rare. So the persons affected are very, very meager. 1 or less per 1,000 person. However, different countries have their own definition. So who defines like this? But there are different definitions also. They include genetic diseases, rare cancers, infectious tropical disease, degenerative disease. 80% of rare disease of genetic on origin and hence disproportionately impact children. The most common rare diseases: hemophilia, thalassemia, sickle cell anemia, primary immunodeficiency in children, and autoimmune disease. Okay, so this you must remember. The rare disease is also called as orphan disease because because only few people get affected, and also it is called orphan because the rare diseases only very few people are affected. The market for the pharmaceuticals is very small, so they don't find or put money in finding the drugs for the treatment of these diseases because they will put, if at all they put in money to find a new drug, the persons who are buying it are very small, so the market is very small, so they will not will be able to regain their invested amount in finding this drug. So it is called as orphan diseases, or the drugs is called as orphan drugs because it is orphan. There is nobody to provide support. And there is a draft national policy for rare disease which is in discussion. So rare disease becomes important for the current affairs. National policy for treatment of rare disease also came in. So again, this was also in news. Kyasanur forest disease, causative agent Flaviviridae, isolated from sick monkey from the Kyasanur forest in Karnataka. So from monkey from Karnataka. Spreading method, hard ticks. Ticks are the usual, again a small insects which is present in the monkey or the reservoir. Rodents, shrews, monkeys are also the common hosts. Symptoms include fever, signs of neurological manifestations such as severe headache, mental disturbances, tremors, and vision deficits. Diagnosis technique is ELISA. Vaccine is formalin inactivated tissue culture vaccine. Remember this? So formalin inactivated tissue culture vaccine. Treatment, no specific treatment is present. So Kyasanur forest disease was in news. So it was spread through hard ticks that are present in this rodent, shrews, and monkeys. So it is the family of Flaviviridae. Outbreak in Kyasanur forest in Karnataka. Vaccine is formalin inactivated tissue culture vaccine. Monkeypox virus, causative agent here, it is a DNA virus, zoonotic virus, so from monkey to the humans it is spread. And the species of the genus Orthopox virus in the family Poxviridae. Spreading method, animal bite or by direct contact with an infected animal's bodily fluids. Vaccine, this was in news, so remember this. It is called as Imvanex, is attenuated live virus vaccine. So I'll tell you about what is this attenuated live virus vaccine. Treatment, no proven and safe treatment. There is also the West Nile virus which was in news. Causative agent is single-stranded RNA virus that causes West Nile fever, family Flaviviridae. Spreading method, results of bites from the infected mosquito. Here see, it is a Culex mosquito. Contact with other infected animals, birds, their blood or other tissues. Symptoms include fever, headache, tiredness, body aches, nausea, vomiting, occasionally with skin rash, and swollen lymph glands. Vaccine, no vaccine or specific antiviral treatments so far. And miscellaneous information is that it was outbreak in Uganda in 1937. Terms. This is very important for you to know. Some of the terms which were in news is first, zoonotic virus, the virus which infects animals, and from animals it is spread to the humans. Even human is an animal, right? RT-PCR test. RT is real time, PCR is polymerase chain reaction. What is this RT-PS? RT is also called as real time. There is another term which is called reverse transcription. Okay, reverse transcription. So in this reverse transcription, whenever there is an RNA virus, through reverse transcription, it is converted to DNA. Only DNA can be multiplied. So this is DNA is multiplied and results in number of copies of this DNA, and then this DNA is tested to understand whether the virus is present. So this is what RT-PCR test is. Then the term perisymptomatic, pre-symptomatic, asymptomatic, symptomatic was present. Pre-symptomatic means whenever there is an infection, say for example, I get infected with the COVID, I don't develop symptoms quickly. There is an incubation period after which I will develop my symptoms. So at this time I have the symptoms. So this period is called pre-symptomatic time. So pre-symptomatic, I remain pre-symptomatic till the incubation time of the particular virus. This incubation time is 14 days for in case of coronavirus, COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2 virus, or it is different for SARS, MERS and all. And here there are two cases. Even after my incubation period, I may show my symptoms or I remain asymptomatic. Asymptomatic means I don't show symptoms at all. So there are certain cases. So this is the term pre-symptomatic, asymptomatic, symptomatic. There is other term called syndemic, pandemic, endemic, epidemic. So this was in news. What is syndemic? Syndemic means two or more diseases happening at the same time or in simultaneous manner, which is providing a great challenge. Say, for example, during COVID, we also had the problem of hantavirus. So this is a called as actually a syndemic. Okay, during if at all if we have malaria as a problem, dengue also was a problem, typhoid was also the problem. So number of diseases causing during the same time is called as syndemic. What about pandemic? Pandemic whenever the outbreak and spread is global. What about endemic? Endemic means the disease is present permanently in the region or in that population. Say for example, malaria in Africa. What about epidemic is the sudden outbreak of any diseases. Say for example, cholera in Yemen. So sudden outbreak of certain diseases are called as epidemic. This you must know. If at all, if it is global, it is called pandemic. If it is very smaller in region, it is called as epidemic. Okay, so this you must remember. And syndemic means synergistic epidemic. Okay, there are more than two diseases caused during the same time. So that causes increase in burden of the disease. Next term is passive vaccination and active vaccination. So this, what is passive vaccination? What is active vaccination? Say for example, I told you about antigen, antibody. Say for example, any bacteria or any virus is called as foreign antigen. It contains foreign antigen, that is the outer cover. Any substances of this virus or the bacteria is has this antigen. So it is called as foreign antigen to our body. So this foreign antigen, whenever it enters the body, it triggers the immune system. Immune system will find that there is somebody else is coming into your body, and this will create an antibody. So this antibody is the protein like thing which kills this antigen, and it will also kill the affected cell by this bacteria or virus. So this is antigen and antibody. Here in passive vaccination and in active vaccination, say for example in active vaccination, this antigen is provided so that our body itself will create this antibody. Okay, other in active vaccination. But in passive vaccination, the antibody itself is provided to the body so that it directly kills the particular invaded foreign antigens. But in this case of active vaccination, the antigen is provided through various other means, which I will talk about in the later slides. Antigen is provided so that the body will fight against this antigen and create antibodies. Convalescent plasma therapy. Plasma means a liquid portion of the blood. Blood consists of blood organelles like RBC, WBC, and also the liquid portion is called as plasma. In the plasma, you have the antibody created. The antibody will be actually getting circulated whenever it is created because of the foreign antigen invasion into the body. So this antibody of the patient, of the person who were once infected by this any bacteria or virus, the antibody would have been created and the person would have become recovered from that particular bacterial infection or viral infection. So in this case, the plasma of the recovered patients will consist of this antibody. So this plasma is administered to the patient who's just get infected with the virus, or the same virus or the same bacteria. So that is called convalescent plasma therapy. Vaccine candidate. So vaccine candidate means the number of candidates. You mean candidates for an election. So candidates for an election are the person who are attempting to get elected. So here the vaccine candidate means the various other drugs or any other materials which are attempting to become a vaccine. So that is called vaccine candidate. Endophagic mosquito. Endophagic means phagic means eating habit. So this endophagic or phagic mosquito is a mosquito that feed indoors An endophilic mosquito is a mosquito that tends to inhabit or rest indoors. So there is the opposite is ectophagic and ectophilic. Okay. In this is very important. WHO has identified 6 phases that it follows before declaring a pandemic. So there was a lot of criticism against the WHO in delay in the declaration of pandemic, but it has taken a lot of. This is actually the 6 phases that you have to know. So this may be a question. So first phase is a virus is seen in animals but has not been shown to infect in humans. So just animals, so it will not declare yet. Phase 2, a known animal virus has caused infection in humans. Phase 3, scattered or isolated incidents of cases or small clusters of diseases occurring in humans. So only limited people are being affected. Not at a level to cause community level outbreaks. This you must remember. So first animal is being infected, then animal to humans have been infected, but not large group of humans. And phase 4, human to human transmission that causes an outbreak in communities. Phase 5, the spread of the disease between humans is now evident in more than one country. Phase 6, community level outbreaks are in at least one additional country other than that seen in phase 5. So 2 countries. So now they will go for a declaration of pandemic. But here actually, though who was criticized, you must know, even China was delayed in informing its own virus outbreak, and later only when it is coming to the other countries, we started knowing it. So there was a delay also. Here see phase 1 to 3, phase 4, phase 5, 6, post-peak, post-pandemic. So mostly animal infected, human to human transmission, widespread human infection, possibility of recurrent events, and disease returns to seasonal levels. So this is possible now. So we have not reached our peak in India. So after this, it may come as a seasonal problem also later. So we have to be equipped for that. This is the history of pandemic declaration by the WHO. See smallpox, there are different kinds of time based on the number of people who got affected and killed. Here smallpox, Spanish flu, plague of Justinian, mostly flu diseases and plague is the most thing. See Russian flu, Hong Kong flu, Asian flu, plague, third plague and all. Even HIV AIDS was a pandemic. Here see Ebola, MERS, SARS was also pandemic. But MERS actually it was not declared pandemic so far, but still it is provided here. COVID from April 2020. Swine flu and all. Public health emergency of international concern. Formal declaration by who? So public health emergency. So there are declaration of emergency both at the international level as well as at the national level. Say for example, there are public health emergency declared when there is a sudden increase in the air pollution. Okay, say for example, it happened in Delhi, it happened in China and all. But there are public health emergency of international concern which was declared by the WHO. If the definition asks if an extraordinary event which is determined to constitute a public health risk to other states through the international spread of diseases and to potentially require an international response that is coordinated. There is serious, sudden, unusual or unexpected carries implication for public health beyond that affect states' national border. And it required immediate international action. So this is actually the definition for public health emergency of international concern. So it may cover an emergency caused by exposure to chemical agent or even a radioactive material and not just the virus or a bacteria. In order to declare a public health emergency of international concern, WHO's Director General is required to take into account factors which include the risk to human health and international spread, as well as get the advice from the IHR Emergency Committee, one of which should be an expert dominated by the state within those regions the event arises. So this IHR Emergency Committee will actually constituted ad hoc. Ad hoc means whenever need is when there is a disease outbreak and there is a problem. So it advises the WHO Director General, and the Director General will then decide. The recommendations are temporary and requires every 3 months. So the pandemic will be, the public health emergency declaration will be withdrawn after the review if at all there is no problem. That is every 3 months. Since 2009, there are 6 public health emergency of international concern declaration. That is, one happened in 2009, H1N1, 2014 for polio, 2014 for Ebola, 2015 to 16 for Zika, and 2018 to 20 for Q Ebola epidemic, and now COVID-19. SARS, smallpox, wild type poliomyelitis, and new subtype of human influenza are automatically a public health emergency, and they do not require the decision of the IHR. If at all there is outbreak, it is automatically considered as a public health emergency. Then coming to the types of vaccines. So there are 4 types of vaccines. First is live attenuated. Live attenuated means the activity of the particular see, actually you must remember these 2 things. One, vaccine is actually containing the foreign antigen. So the vaccine contains foreign antigen or the antibody, as I told you. If it is containing antigen, it is called as active vaccination. If it is containing the antibody, it is called as passive vaccination. So this vaccine contains the foreign antigen. It can be a bacteria or a virus which are attenuated. That means its activity is suppressed by boiling or by shock treatment and all. So live attenuated vaccines, or it can be killed and provided. Still the antigen will invoke antibody response. So it might be killed. So inactivated vaccines, or any part of the bacteria, say for example, part of the bacteria, this part will be provided. That is called subunit polysaccharide vaccines. And recombinant, say for example, this particular bacteria is cultured and the particular genetic material is provided as a foreign antigen, then it is called as recombinant conjugate vaccines and all. So conjugate vaccine, say for example, there are vaccines which are similar, there are bacteria which offer similar similar in the family. Say for example, in the family Flaviviridae, there are a number of viruses. So one of the viruses can create antibodies. That antibody can kill another virus in the same family. So like this, there can be a vaccine created. So that is these types. And then toxoid vaccines. Toxoid vaccine means the toxin which are injected by the bacteria or virus itself is provided as a foreign antigen, and an immune response is created for that. So this is what the types of vaccines. So vaccine development, what are the challenges in vaccine development was my topic. So this vaccine research development, you must understand the number of stages. So it takes a longer time, which is a challenge. So COVID will take a longer time in coming up with the right vaccines, but we do have a lot of vaccine candidates, but testing and development takes time. So first they will identify the antigens. So the antigen can be the virus itself, or the virus of same family, or subunit of the virus particles, or the toxin created by that virus particles, just like the previous slide we saw. So they will identify the antigen, they will produce the antigen synthetically also. The preclinical testing will be done. So in the preclinical testing, they will tissue culture the particular antigen, or they will animal test that particular antigen, and they will create immune vaccines for that. So phase 1, they will go for a small group of adults. So the vaccine will be administered for a small group of adults, and they will see the safety of the particular vaccine. And in phase 2, little larger group, and phase 3, much larger group, And there are phase 4. Phase 4, after commercial development, they will go and test for safety and efficacy in the wider population. So this is how the phase 1, 2, 3 trials are made. So they will initially test for safety, then they will test for the efficacy, how far the vaccine is able to control the particular infection itself, and then they will go for approval, and then commercialization, commercial development, and the circulation of the marketing of the particular vaccines. So this is how the particular thing is circulated. You must know this placebo. Placebo is one thing. I actually heard one video, TED Ed. There are some videos in TED Ed which is very useful for the education of various concepts. So placebo effect, you can actually watch this video on TED Ed. But what is placebo? Placebo means a sugar solution or anything which is administered, which is given to you to actually cure the disease, but it doesn't cure the disease, but it will create an effect on you. It will create a psychological effect that this will actually cure my disease. So a small sugar solution will be given by the doctors saying that this is actually the medicine, but this only creates a placebo effect, which means it actually does not cure the disease, but it will only give you a psychological effect that it will cure the disease. So that is actually the what do you mean by placebo effect? So in the trials, the phase 2 trials, they provide this placebo also, placebo for certain people, and they will some people will be provided with the actual vaccine, but they will not know whether they are provided with placebo or vaccines. They will have the psychological, because they will not be provided with the information, because this will affect the test results, because the people, since they think that the vaccine have been provided, they will see that it is getting cured, or some psychological effect may affect the exact test result. So there is a blinded trials which is provided in the phase 2 and all. It is called blinded trials, randomized trials. So randomized trials happens because the population can consist of different people of different ages, of different genes, of different history of ailment. So randomized trial must also be done. A blinded trial must also be done, so that there is a proper test result which is coming. So this takes a longer time. So that is a challenge in the vaccine development. For this also, this vaccine research development, do watch the in-depth, there is a one thing, challenges in COVID challenges. So this in RSTV, in depth in RSTV, please do watch this video, that will help you more in detail, and it's also very interesting to know. Immunization program of India. So March 16 was celebrated as National Vaccination Day. So I thought this might be very important for you. Universal immunization program started in 1985, providing 12 vaccines nationally against 9 diseases: diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, polio, measles, rubella, severe form of childhood tuberculosis, hepatitis B, meningitis, and pneumonia caused by Haemophilus influenza type B. And subnationally against 3 diseases: rotavirus, pneumococcal pneumonia, and Japanese encephalitis. So 12 vaccine totally, 9 plus 3. 1995, there was a pulse polio campaign which was started, and on March 16 only this pulse polio campaign was started. So in remembrance of this pulse polio vaccine and its success, March 16 was celebrated as the National Vaccination Day. Mission Indradhanush was launched in December 2014 and aims to increase the full immunization coverage to children to 90%. Then there was an electronic vaccine intelligence network to contain all the stock information of the particular vaccine stock, the people who got vaccinated and all. Intensified Mission Indradhanush, IMI, first 1.0 and then 2.0. 2.0 started in 2019, 1.0 started in 2017. To further intensify India's immunization program, It will reach all children aged below 2 years and pregnant women who are left uncovered under the government's routine immunization program, that is Mission Indradhanush. So there was a call for intensified Mission Indradhanush. This is very important again. The diseases eradicated so far in India is this: smallpox very long back itself, polio in 2014 only, yaws, rinderpest, maternal and neonatal tetanus again in recent times 2015, leprosy, infectious trachoma. Trachoma is the eye infection. So these are the diseases which are eradicated in India. This you must remember. So that's all. Questions? Do comment below this video. And thank you. Have a nice day. It's good to have science and technology current affairs from Kingmakers. So we hope we'll be supporting through Kingmakers at all times. Thank you. And one more I wanted to tell you, please do read this class 12 NCERT chapter 8. So this diseases current affairs and the diseases chapter, human health and diseases chapter in 8. Chapter 8 of class 12 NCERT will be helpful. So both together the diseases concept is totally over. So it will help you to cover entire thing. So basics can be covered in this NCERT chapter 8 of class 12, and this will include all the current affairs. So upcoming news about COVID and COVID governmental steps, we will talk about it in detail when it is coming very near to the prelims exam, because now there are a lot of things which is coming in. So I keep that video set aside for the next month, because there can be many more news which I have to accumulate and give you, so that it will be helpful for you, your target 2020 prelims as well as your mains. So thank you once again.